How to Stop Babies from Crying by Shortstory 1. Babies crying. It is, for most people, the most annoying thing you can endure. Babies have this way of really etching into your skin. And I guess it's their survival technique, as they cannot walk or talk to get what they want. When a baby really cries though, and that tone can be so deafening, and endurance to keep on crying is quite incredible. I know we were all babies once, and we all cried and annoyed our parents, but when you're in the moment of a crying child, you tend to forget about yourself. My wife is suffering from severe depression, and so she cannot be as helpful, so it's up to me. I work with my brothers, as we all work for our father's business in a restaurant. They give me all the time in the world and still paid me to adapt. This is the advantages of working with family. Sometimes when you've fed, cleaned and played with your baby, but still crying, then you have just got to sometimes just let the baby cry it out. It was some mental torture just to listen to my child cry from the other room. Then, in the living room, there was also a television. I didn't turn it on, and the remote was next to the television. I heard a man's voice. He had this odd posh voice and told my little girl,
"Look at this boy. Look at this boy."
And my baby instantly stopped crying. Then the television turned off and I went into the other room, and my little girl started crying once more. The next couple of days, as my baby daughter always awoke early and being extremely irritable, I remember my little girl crying, and I was in the same room this time. The TV came on by itself, and a man with another child appeared, and he went,
"Look at this non-crying child. Look at this non-crying child."
And my baby stopped crying and just stared at the screen. Then, through the post, I received a leaflet. At the same time, my TV started to go weird. It had the title, "How to Stop Babies from Crying, Even Children." And it was a large leaflet with quite a few pages. I went into the living room and still hearing the man from the telly saying,
"Look at this non-crying child,"
over and over. And my girl was still quiet but staring. When my baby daughter finally got to sleep, I received a video through the letterbox of my front door. It was in DVD form. It had the title, "How to Stop Babies from Crying, Even Children." So I put it on. The DVD was showing the experiment that Dr. Fran Duran was doing on the baby boy. That's now the child on the TV. The baby boy would cry like my little girl, and then stop when Dr. Duran would show a teddy bear in front of him, and he would stare, just like my little daughter would stare at the now grown boy.
Crying babies and children, it's horrible, isn't it? Especially not nice on an aeroplane. But crying babies are a fact of life. I, on the other hand, think it's completely acceptable to hate crying babies and children. I have discovered a way to stop them from crying.
Dr. Fran Duran spoke, and then it ended. I then started receiving text messages from a parent whose child is on the DVD, and he states to say to me in text form, "I am happy that my child has stopped your baby from crying." But he wouldn't answer any of my questions as to how he got my number. I also asked him the question about his son on the telly and the DVD, but he kept on texting, "I'm glad that my son stopped your baby from crying." Then it ended after about half an hour. A couple of days later, my baby girl was crying so much, and my wife was still in a vulnerable position to do much. I was hoping for the TV to come back on, and for Dr. Duran and the boy to do their thing. Nothing, until a knock on the door. And as I opened it, it was the little boy. I was gobsmacked, but desperate, and he knew, and he went straight into the front room and held my baby. And she stopped crying, but stared at him. My daughter was just staring at him and moving a little here and there, and it was as if my baby girl was fighting or resisting something, but she couldn't. Then a day later, I found the little boy to not be moving or even breathing. My baby girl wasn't crying, but just staring into the air. And I wasn't a doctor, but I knew the little boy was dead. I phoned an ambulance, and when I came back into the front room, the boy and my little girl, they had disappeared. Both me and my wife cried to the police and other officers about what happened. I said the name of Dr. Fran Duran and his how to stop babies from crying, even children, leaflets and DVDs. They didn't look surprised and told me we weren't the only families to be affected by this. For some reason, they are keeping it quiet, and they wouldn't tell us why. My wife's condition had become worse, and other families that were affected, the parents had either committed suicide or just disappeared and went missing. Now, I kind of miss my baby girl's crying, and her smile. I miss holding her in my arms, I miss looking at her when she is asleep, her soft skin. I miss my little baby girl so much. Then the telly came on in the front room, and 2 separate screens were on. One was of a family with a crying baby. The other screen was Dr. Fran Duran with my little girl. And she wasn't crying, but still staring. He ordered the crying baby in the other family to look at my baby girl, and the baby in the family stopped crying, but just stared.
One was memory, the other imaginary.
/Tuesdays. And always remember, if trouble comes your way, just try to make yourself look big. Hee hee.